1 week after the 2,500-acre Nanakuli wildfire started, Susan Ching of the Plant Extinction Prevention Program and Marigold Zoll of the DLNR Division of Forestry and Wildlife ventured deep into the burned area. They're expecting the worst as they trudge across the now desolate landscape and toward the last Na'u, or Gardenia brighami, growing in the wild on Oahu. Forest managers, conservationists, and cultural practitioners feared it had been killed by the intense heat and flames.
There's not much habitat left to begin with, and then when a fire comes through, it's such a large stochastic event that really alters everything from the microclimate to the soils, the mycorrhizae, and everything that it really has a really big impact.
But still got some leaves.
As they crest the top of a small ridge and cross over a small fence that surrounds the tree, Zoll and Ching breathe a partial sigh of relief.
Most of it is dead, maybe from the heat.
While fire literally blackened the ground surrounding the enclosure, they immediately spot one branch with green leaves and several others with hanging fruit protected by plastic bags. Much of the rest of this culturally significant tree is devoid of leaves. Ching was brought to tears. She, along with many others, have tended this tree for years.
She just barely made it. I think it's like it's really special that the fire burned all around this whole fence, and it's a tiny fence, and she got some char on the fruit and char on the leaves, but she's still here.
Ching then climbs barefooted up the more than 100-year-old tree to retrieve one of the fruit bags.
All right. Can you hold this for a second? Yeah. I don't know if I can reach it yet, but I'm going to try. Oh, I got it. Oh, look, it's charred on one side.
Opening it in her hand, she sees that one side of the walnut-sized fruit is charred. When she opens it, she and Zoll are excited to see the deep orange hue, celebrated in native Hawaiian culture as representing a Nanakuli sunset.
Actually look good. That's amazing with the charred fruit and everything, and there's still some seeds in there.
Inside, she extracts 2 small, viable seeds that, along with the others inside, will be added to a seed bank to try and make sure this native species does not go extinct. This species of gardenia was used traditionally as anvils for making kapa and as house posts. Its flowers were used for lei, and the fruit was used to make yellow dye. In 2001, there were 3 known plants in the wild on Oahu. Since then, one was killed by fire, and another was killed by weeds, insects, and drought. If this last Oahu tree survives, it will be one of only 16 wild individuals remaining statewide. All the others are on Lanai. The Na'u gardenia is one of numerous native plants and animals that conservationists and residents of Nanakuli believe were severely impacted by this fire. They share deep concerns that increasingly frequent and severe wildfires, often exacerbated by drought, have and will continue to cause extinction of these rare native plants and animals for future generations.
Yeah, basically every time a fire comes through, you have to set the clock back to 0. We're looking at generations of effort, maybe hundreds of years of efforts to protect what remains of the native forest, to teach people why it's special, to try and assure that these plants survive into the future, plants that have been here for millions of years. And every time we have an event like this, whatever you've done gets destroyed, and you have to start all over from ground zero.
Pauline Sato of the Malama Learning Center, one of the many organizations and groups working to help protect the dryland forest of the Nanakuli Valley, asks, will future generations ever know what some of these rare plants and animals, the heritage of the kapuna, look like in real life rather than in pictures? Will we regret that we did not work harder today to protect these natural and cultural resources? State and county firefighters believe the Nanakuli fire was one of the largest on Oahu in many years. It scorched private and public land in the valley, and as it burned into higher elevations into portions of the state Nanakuli Forest Reserve. With drought conditions predicted to get worse across the state as summer approaches, fire managers worry larger and hotter wildfires will continue to not only put people's homes and lives at risk, but also will destroy critical members of Hawaii's natural and cultural heritage. Fire is devastating to native plants and animals because a single one will change their habitat, making it impossible for them to recover in the long term. Fires also make the area more susceptible to the next one, especially where invasive grasses such as guinea grass can quickly replace native vegetation. It grows fast and is able to withstand fire, so it is often the first thing that recovers after one. Native Hawaiian dryland and mesic, or medium wet forest, are among the rarest plant communities remaining in Hawaii. Nanakuli Valley and its ridges contain remnants of these forest types, home to native plants, animals, birds, insects, and snails. Some 60 rare and endangered plants and animals are located along the top of the ridgeline in the Palikea area of the Honouliuli Forest Reserve. Public and private groups have worked to protect the rarest species for more than 10 years. They have outplanted dozens of dryland forest plants, some less common than others, and the plants have thrived.
Just out loud so people can help me remember.
Zolan Ching and others conducted several site and damage assessments in the fire area in late March. Zoll says it's important for everyone to know that 99% of the wildfires in Hawaii are started by people. We're responsible for the loss of habitat and for careless actions like tossing a cigarette butt out the window. We should take equal responsibility for doing everything possible to make sure that no plant or no animal is lost forever because of what we humans do.